Welcome to this video on basically a review of UFC 306. Obviously just happened last night. I'm going to break down each of the main card fights, talk about the event also at the end of how the Sphere has really worked and how well that really panned out. For TV viewers, I wasn't there, so this will purely be for pay-per-view viewers around the world of the experience. So let's get right into it. Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Ode Osbourne. I think it's that thing. Osbourne came out a lot harder than I thought he would have. He caught him straight away in that first round, amazingly so. Basically, Ronaldo Rodriguez kind of just was fainting but showing nothing at the start, then goes for a massive leg kick, which he hits, and then just sits there. And it was sort of odd how he was looking when doing so, and he just gets caught. It was just a simple way of, that's sort of the non-UFC experience. Playing into it, that you need to get in, you need to get out. And you need to stay safe in there, because anyone in the UFC can catch you and will catch you. Have had that many fights to get to the UFC. They've been around the block. They know what they're doing. Straight right, basically puts him on the ground. Osbourne looking to get a submission, is now on the bot. And basically Rodriguez did very well to recover and basically stay in the fight and also then get on top. Did well there on top of Rodriguez. Rodriguez staying on top but not really getting an advantage by the end of the round. Give that round to Osbourne there. Rodriguez, round 2, goes for a takedown quite early. Bit of a problem, but gets the back anyway. It just showed he was so much better on the ground, and on the feet Osbourne was the one who would win on the feet. So it was very clear whoever managed to get it to their area of expertise, or where they had the advantage, they would get the win. And Rodriguez managed to get him down round 2, on the back, trying to get some bits done, but couldn't really get anything done, to be honest, over that round. Tries to get a submission at the end of the round, but just staying on the back, not really getting much. There was a bit of risk, but not massively. You need a significant bit more time on that to get anything done. Rodriguez wins the round though, second round. So really all to play for third round. Rodriguez trying to get back to the ground. Osbourne does really well early to stop it. Osbourne gets another good counter on Rodriguez. Not as prominent as round 1 especially, but a good hit nonetheless on the feet. And it just showed Rodriguez needs to get it to the ground again. Osbourne, and then basically Rodriguez is just pressuring Osbourne. Osbourne looks tired. He looks with more fatigue out of the two fighters, and Osbourne went for the takedown. It was just the most silly thing I've seen, especially when the guys had your back all last round. You got him down in the first round, but where you sort of went wrong, or where he had the advantage to recover, was on the ground. So you're going to allow him to be in his wheelhouse, really. You want to stay on your feet, you want to be at range, but again, if you're fatigued, and I think he was, and we'll never really know how fatigued he was in that fight, but I'm thinking very extremely fatigued to go for a takedown on Rodriguez when he's seen how much more proficient he is on the ground in both the first and second rounds. But Osbourne managed to get back up after Rodriguez tries to reverse it instantly. And then tries it again. And Rodriguez tried to do something back to the feet. And Osbourne's just going for takedowns. And it was just such an odd thing to see at the end of that round that, you might be getting backed up by Rodriguez now. He's just throwing hands. And they're not good. They're not experienced, they're not technical. They're just literally looping hands and just trying to catch you. And they are catching you because you're fatigued, you're trying to back off, you're not the same fighter. And really extreme that, Luke Osbourne, it's a 3-rounder. If you're that tired, you're trying to go for takedowns in this one, you're getting caught with these looping overhands. Just calm it down. That's the next thing, is when you get these opportunities, when you knock someone down in the first round, don't rush in when you don't need to. You could have got him back up, and he was seriously hurt, but on the ground, his just muscle memory will help him so much stay in the game. Rodriguez, I thought, won it. He did win it on the decision, which obviously I picked in the prediction video I did, but it was a bit harder than I thought it was for Rodriguez. I think the experience of the UFC fight, I think that can only help him now. That he goes, these things where I'm just feigning and just trying to do a massive leg kick and staying in range, it's not going to work on UFC fights, even at sort of the debut end, the bottom end of that UFC division. So look, good win, experience is good, and showed he's good on the ground enough to use that. His stand-up needs some work if he's going to go up to anywhere near the rankings. So yeah, good win though. Next fight is Zalhuber versus Ribovic. Round 1, Ribovic going forward a lot. Really, Zalhuber was really just staying in the range, staying defensively sound. But Ribovic was hitting, at least he was touching him with these things. He wasn't getting any damage done. But overall, when Zalhuber's doing really next to nothing in that whole round, for the majority of that round, just staying defensively sound and just taking the combos on his gloves and just maybe taking a jab here and there. Yes, you may be defensively sound, but if the only thing the judges see is Ribovic pushing forward and punching your gloves and things, it's the only thing they can score. And it's 10-9 for Ribovic, and you just, especially in a 3-rounder, you ain't got time to be, you can be defensively sound. It's not about that, but it's more about, you got to be pressing from the starting end. You got to be putting your game plan into place round 1. And okay, there might be some fighters that don't need to. They have a game plan that works, but in a sense, you lose that first round. You've only you have to win every other round if you're not getting a KO. So yeah, I think that was a bit of a weird one from the start there. Zalhuber in the second round, trying to go for the body well, did really well there, and this fight was great. I mean, very evenly matched, very very good strikers. Both wanted to keep it on the feet, which was really good. The reach of Zalhuber's helping while Ribovic is slowing down round 2. Zalhuber going forward well now, so he was backing off last round. He's now coming forward, throwing punches, getting them through. Both still having success, and they both were throughout the fight really. After round, sort of the starting of halfway through round 1. And I think round 2 they both did well, but I think Zalhuber did the better of the two in that round. All to play for round 3 then, again, sort of like similar like the other fight, round 3 being the decider, both going for it in this final round, both having success, but Zalhuber gets dropped by Ribovic's punches. There's a combo that comes forward. Zalhuber is going forward, gets caught, and, really this was a bit of a really, to be honest, for Zalhuber, a really good showing. That he got hurt, he got seriously hurt. He got lots of hands thrown at him. Ribovic was going for the finish no matter what. Everything was putting into these shots, and he was just staying in there and moving as and when he needed to stop the referee stopping it. I really thought it'd be stopped. Multiple moments when it could have been, but Zalhuber keeps his head moving, takes some things off them shots, and manages to circle out when he can, and does really well. Overall, though, that's where he loses it. He loses around here. He starts having, obviously he recovers. They start going, tit for tat again. But really, that isn't recoverable unless you get do the same to Ribovic, which he didn't by the end of the round. So Ribovic wins it. Either Ribovic win. Decision was Ribovic as well. So yeah, I picked Zalhuber to do it in this fight. I think they were very evenly matched, very hard. It was a great fight, to be honest with you. I think it was a really good fight. Both going at it, both showed they were technical strikers, and And yeah, that's that fight really. I think both will do well going forward. I don't think a loss to Rubovic is that bad for Zellhuber. And Rubovic goes forward obviously with a big win. Next fight, Lopez versus Ortega. Obviously rooting for Lopez here after the total mess up of the last fight via Ortega. Having problems with weight and things, which we don't know why, but overall had to take a fight late notice in Danny Gay. Danny Gay obviously did very well in that fight, but how much was that actually just the mess up and Lopez looking for, training for Ortega? We saw in this fight, Lopez, 2 great punches early, great counter. Lopez then chases Ortega to the ground. Ortega's gets hit with one. He stumbled. You see it. If you see it in slow motion, I'll take that. Just watch it again, because he hits the right. His eyes are rolling, and a left comes in, and it just flattens him to the ground. Lopez follows him down. Follows him down and keeps trying to punch him in and get things in, but Ortega's trying to up kick, and he just finally lets him back up. Ortega doing better on the feet later on in this round, but still getting caught by Lopez, and I give it a 10-8. He got knocked down, he got beaten up. There was no real success from Ortega in that fight, round 1. Definitely a 10-8 for me. Got knocked down early, never really had much success. Lopez was always on top. He was throwing significant strikes on the ground. 10-8. Round 2, feeling each other out in this round. Ortega goes for a takedown, but doesn't get it. And we could see here that Ortega's meant to be good on the ground, and he is good on the ground in a sense of it, and he has shown it. But Lopez is actually more, it's actually more his wheelhouse. And if they were on the ground, I'd prefer Lopez to Ortega. And I felt that throughout this fight, that Lopez is a very dangerous fight. I'll get on that to the end. He's everyone should be looking now, if they weren't already. Lopez, another good leg kick, and this is a second round. He starts, instead of going to the head where Ortega is going to be protecting his eye because he has a slight cut, he starts leg kicking him, and he busts up that leg, and he actually, it just, goes out, gets another leg kick. Ortega goes over on that leg kick, so he gets hit by the leg, goes down. And it's like, that doesn't look good, but it's such control from Lopez going, how do I stop him being a threat? Well, I take his leg now. If the head isn't there, I take the leg. And it's just such sort of championship mindset of experience of going, actually, I need to do other things. I need to mix it up. And, amazing. Another 10-9 Lopez round there. Great fighting. And then round 3, both on their feet. Getting off, but both going for it, both firing in the pocket, which probably Lopez didn't want to do. Lopez he's just doing well, really. And there's a thing in round 3 where Ortega thinks it's a poke in the eye, and actually gets just punched by Lopez straight. If you look at it, and I've seen a different angle to it, it's pretty much basically on that. It's where he's got blood, and I think that's why he thinks it's a poke, because the knuckle goes into the eye, and obviously he's already having problems with that eye from a cut, so I'm not surprised he thought it might be a poke. But for a test later, when someone's in front of you with the cage to your back and you go, I've been eye poked, be vigilant, because you're going to get KO'd very quickly. He didn't, but just a bit of a one there. That was a bit of a odd one, but look, Lopez won every round, got the decision in the UFC's eyes as well, and the judges' eyes. Lopez is a very scary fight, I think, for anyone now. I think he's just incredibly lengthy. He's very tall. The reach is very good. The ground game is very good. The stand-up can hold up enough against Ortega, which is very showing. Ortega's meant to have quite a good chin. He's been in some battles, but You know, he can take a punch, and to get punched like that in the first round when he's the freshest shows something that actually, you know, and also the reach will help him tremendously, keeping people at more distance than they have reach. It'll always help him, and always he can lay on that ground game, which seems to be, I think, one of the best in the division at current. So yeah, great win for Lopez, very impressive. Getting into the Grasso versus Shevchenko third fight between the two of them now. So yeah, so Shevchenko round one, counter right hook, X in, very nice, and good takedown by Shevchenko. And I won't really go through all this fight, and I'm guessing if you watched it, you probably know why. Literally every round is Shevchenko taking Grasso down for the majority of the fight, and getting a few punches off here to keep not really significant on the ground, but keeping the referee away from standing them up, basically not being very interesting or impressive, not really something you want to pay for, to be honest with you, that type of fight. And just basically Grasso taking down every round, keeping in the guard, throwing a few punches to the body or the head, and getting it, that's it. You know, there might be a few submission attempts here and there, mainly from Grasso. Mainly from the bottom, mainly guillotines, mainly arm bars that never come off. And Grasso wins every round. Shevchenko wins every round because she's just on top of Grasso and doing enough to just keep the control. It's just, yeah, it wasn't a good look, and I think even Dana White said something about this fight in the press conference, saying, you know, I hope you just watch the first three fights of the main card, and we'll get onto the main event after this. But you know, look, it's not what you're paying. You know, I think the word was 20 million, or you know, even more, to put on this event, for your co-main event to be that boring in a sense of it is a bit of a kick in the teeth. So look, I think the matchmakers are going to get a bit of a, you know, look, we've got to make sure fights like these, especially when we're Riyadh season and we're getting partners in, they want to see proper fights. They want to see interesting fights. They want to see people, you know, interest to be felt in it, because these people may not play another pay-per-view if they're seeing fights like this as a co-main and main event. So yeah, I think there's some work they've got to do. I think it is a problem with how big the UFC's got. The roster isn't, you know, just full of people who stand and bang, you know, and that's sort of, you know, where boxing, in a sense, if you're at a certain level, you've got knockout power, you're technically brilliant, there's a spectacle there. But I think that you know, look, the UFC has to think about these things. When they're trying to put on these big events, they've got to have the fighters who are going to show up and provide. The matchup has got to provide a spectacle, or hope to provide a spectacle. I think they did not great with putting this on this type of card, to be honest, because, you know, look, if that's going to happen, yeah, they may not have known about this, but then you've got, which I'll get onto now, the main event, which is Sean O'Malley versus Merab, and it's very similar in the sense of it. Sean really gets nothing off. He gets taken down constantly and just grounded out, and nothing really actually happened. So it was just, I mean, crazy for the fights beforehand to be so good. You know, Zalcuba versus Rubovic, a great technical striking fight. You've got Lopez versus Ortega, which is, you know, there's knockdowns, but there's technical ability in there. And then you have Sean O'Malley being tentative for the takedown, but then also Merab taking him down and doing nothing with it. And I think that's the problem with the current sort of level of the UFC, is that actually we are very much, we haven't got that guy who is just going in there and knocking people out constantly. You haven't got the people who, you know, look, the ground game people, you know, the wrestlers, Merab, you know, you've got, it's not the Khabib style, where he's going to get you down, submit you, or ground and pound, and it's interesting and it's exciting to see. Just dragging things out for the whole fight to get control time, to get around, is not something people want to pay for. And I think it's a real big problem for the UFC that actually some of these fighters are seeing a way to win when they're actually not significantly doing damage. They're not significantly interesting the public, and that's the bigger problem. This is a business, this is money. You have to be interesting. And also, when they're fighting your biggest stars like Sean O'Malley, who's meant to be, that guy who's going on to the next big star, who's going to be the next, hopefully level of Conor McGregor, which I don't know how much he could be, but in a sense he's significantly up there. He's fans are very interested in him. Fans pay to watch him, and now he's lost against someone who actually, who wants to see it? I think that's the problem. Who actually wants to see the fights from Merab when it's that type of fight? Not just stand up, but actually you're not even, if you get a submission, it's interesting. If you get ground and pound, it's interesting. If you do stuff on the ground, it's interesting. It's just a problem where actually these things that people are paying for, you'll see that they diminish, and actually these problems are coming about where you've just got people who are very good at getting the takedown and keeping on the ground, and actually these interesting fighters, even if they are, you could have a Khabib who's put on the ground, who's a very interesting fighter, say. I'm not saying this would happen, but Merab just keeps him there in guard and throws a few punches to keep the ref off, and that's it. And yeah, it's sort of diminished the result of this sort of spectacle. It's meant to be a big awakening in the UFC. Look, we're doing a first event ever. Boxing haven't done this. No fighting sport has ever done this before. And it sort of went out with a whimper. It started off with a loud bang and a loud roar of the crowd for the first three fights of the main card as well. Great fights, but them two main events were just like, this is the other end of the UFC that people don't want to pay for. And it's just a struggle, really. I think their matchmakers go back to the drawing board. You need two fighters who are going to do something here. You can't have one very good striker who's not very good on the ground. It's someone who's just going to take you down and put you in guard and do next to nothing with it. It's tough. It's tough because there are sort of mandatory people who, go, that's the next guy for the title fight, this is the next guy for the title fight. But overall, you've got to have interest to sell these fights. And if they're not going to sell, it's sort of like, well, you need to give Merab big names to get his name out there and up there that, will challenge him to be better, to get submissions, to do things like this, because otherwise you end up with this type of fight. Shevchenko lost two fights. I can see why she did it, because she saw an opening. Look, Grasso, you're not very good on the ground. That's Grasso's fault as well. Look, if you're getting taken down that easily every round, come on, you're the champion here. Let's get some rounds in on the ground. Let's get some rounds in takedown defense, because there's nothing there. I mean, I think it was round 3 or 4. The takedown was just ludicrous, to be honest with you. It was just, it wasn't even that. It wasn't like Grasso was throwing anything. She just got taken down and just accepted it. She just got pushed down onto the floor, and it was just like, yeah, this is meant to be championship level now, guys. Yeah, you may have been on the bottom for 3 rounds, but come on, you've been here before. Just, I don't think it was even fatigue. It was just loss of motivation, loss of, I've lost this already, and just ended the event very poorly, to be honest with you. So please let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Honestly, the Sphere is great, I think. The great event, some great ideas they had. I think they didn't really go that well on TV. Some things did, and they look great, but I don't think anything really adds to the TV spectacle where you got mate. But look, people in that arena may have felt that it was amazing. And look, this is the first event; it'll only develop from here if sport events go back to it or UFC events go back. So, it's the first. I think it was very good for the first time. I don't think there's any problems with it. Is it worth the money? Probably not. But, look, it can only develop forward and be better. I don't think it was terribly out of the realms of possibility that actually it was a good event. So I think it could come back. And also, for the amount of money they pumped into it, okay, I think they got some sort of spectacle out there, which is exactly what they wanted. So, brilliant for them. So please let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.